She's nothing but a walking ATM machine that no one barely knows anymore. My husband of 8 years, James Morrison, said those exact words to my supposed best friend, Sophia Hayes. I heard every syllable through the live feed of my smart home surveillance system. They were at a private villa in the Beverly Hills Hotel in Los Angeles, Suite 512. James presented Sophia with a limited edition $25,000 diamond watch that I never bought her. He had purchased it with $35,000 he stole from our joint investment account. Sophia laughed, a cold, sharp sound. He's delusional. She's been so busy building a $10 million company in deep-fake security that she failed to notice what she was losing. Then James spoke about my daughter, Lily, and my son, Austin. After the divorce, they'll understand that Mommy was always just a weekend guest. Sophia nodded. We'll make sure they see the truth. 8 years married. 12 years spent in forensic data analysis. 15 years building my company, Guardian AI, to an annual revenue of $10 million. And these two idiots thought they could take it all. If you like stories about cheaters getting exactly what they deserve, hit like and subscribe right now. We post new stories daily, each one crazier than the last. In 2015, I left my stable but stifling job in forensic data analysis. I started Guardian AI with $75,000 in savings and a handful of secondhand servers. Our specialty was detecting and neutralizing deepfake video and audio fraud, a growing existential threat to corporations. Businesses paid heavily for someone who could think 3 steps ahead of the most sophisticated digital criminals. I met James Morrison at a California art gallery opening. He was 35, a real estate lawyer, charming, composed, and seemingly ambitious. I was 30. I liked his quiet confidence. We moved fast. Within a year, I proposed to him with a 3-carat ring that cost $22,000, 3 months of my salary at the time. The wedding was everything James wanted. 250 guests at the Biltmore, open bar, imported flowers. Total cost, $100,000. I paid it all. The first few years felt like riding a tidal wave of success. My business was scaling rapidly. James's legal practice was growing too. We bought a modern, 4-bedroom house in Brentwood for $2.5 million. 2 luxury SUVs in the drive, trips to the Maldives and the French Riviera twice a year. James loved the lifestyle my success provided. He'd proudly tell his colleagues how brilliant his wife was. By 2016, I was pulling in serious money. Guardian AI had 15 employees and major tech contracts. James said he was ready for children. Lily was born on July 20th, 2017. Austin followed 12 minutes later. They changed everything for me. I started working even longer hours, taking bigger clients, pushing harder than I ever did in my forensic years. Every contract, every late night was for their future. James seemed supportive initially. He'd bring me coffee during late-night office sessions at home. He'd brag to his friends about how hard I worked for our family. The change came in 2019. James started having phone conversations that ceased the moment I entered a room. He began going to social events without me, legal conventions, high-end charity dinners. When I asked why I wasn't invited, he'd reply, "You're always too busy with work anyway, Caroline. They know that." That's when Sophia Hayes appeared. James introduced her as a business consultant. She was 32, recently divorced, no children. Drove a sleek Porsche 911, wore $3,000 suits. James said Sophia had connections in commercial real estate that could help his expansion plans. I liked Sophia immediately. Stupid, fatal mistake. Sophia started coming for dinner every few weeks. She brought expensive gifts for Lily and Austin. She and James would sit in my living room after dinner talking. She seemed genuinely interested in my work, asking smart, specific questions about my proprietary algorithms and client lists. What I didn't realize was that every casual conversation was intelligence gathering. Every question about my business was learning how to dismantle it. Every compliment was studying my weaknesses, figuring out how to exploit the boundless trust I had placed in him. By 2021, James's attitude towards me had completely soured. Everything I did seemed to annoy him. Arguments erupted out of nowhere. "The children need their father present, Caroline," he'd rail during fights. "Money isn't everything. Family should come first." The hypocrisy was galling. I worked 70-hour weeks specifically for their wealthy lifestyle. Yet, while criticizing my work schedule, James never suggested cutting expenses. He still expected designer wardrobes and luxury European vacations. Meanwhile, Sophia became a permanent fixture. She showed up on Saturday mornings with fancy lattes. She stayed for Lily's dance recitals and Austin's soccer games. She'd help put the children to bed, reading stories in animated voices. I told James things I should have kept sacred, details about my biggest clients, our family finances, investment portfolios. I thought I was confiding in a husband. I was actually giving classified intelligence to an enemy planning to destroy my life. The breaking point came in February 2023. I had just returned from a week-long job in New York. I was exhausted but excited to spend time with my family. Instead, I walked into a house full of cold silence. When I asked what was wrong, James said something that hit me like a physical punch. "They're not used to you being here anymore, Caroline. You've become a stranger in your own home." That night, lying next to a man who felt more distant than any stranger, I made a decision. I would use every single skill acquired over 12 years in military-grade forensic analysis to find out exactly what was happening and secure my children's future. The investigation started small and methodical. 12 years of military intelligence training teach you: gather all data, analyze all patterns, and build a complete, irrefutable picture before acting. I started with James's laptop. I had about 10 minutes most mornings while he was dressing. Most non-technical people don't understand deleted files. They are never truly gone. James cleared his browser history and emptied his trash, but he knew nothing of shadow files, cache recovery, and deep-level forensic analysis. It took exactly 3 hours and 17 minutes to rebuild his entire digital footprint from the past 8 months. What I found made me physically sick. The romantic relationship with Sophia started in June 2022. Text messages quickly became intensely personal. By August, James was sending her private photos of her, posed provocatively in our bedroom while I traveled for work. But the affair was only the surface layer. Underneath was a detailed, systematic plan to destroy my life. James and Sophia had been plotting for months. The strategy was sophisticated, targeting every aspect of my existence. Professional destruction. They would claim I used my proprietary AI security equipment to illegally spy on competitors, destroying my reputation and opening Guardian AI to devastating lawsuits. Psychological warfare. They would argue I was psychologically unstable, obsessed with surveillance and control, potentially dangerous to the children. Legal manipulation. James's mother, Judge Cynthia Morrison, a respected state judge, would leverage her connections to ensure the custody battle went their way. The most damaging document was a draft custody petition James worked on with his divorce attorney, George Drake. He painted me as an emotionally distant workaholic who abandoned family responsibilities for financial gain. But there was something else in those files. A cryptic reference to a sealed 2010 court case involving Sophia's family. Something about a fatal traffic accident handled discreetly through the family's influence. I realized I wasn't just playing defense anymore. I was going on offense. I began systematic surveillance of both James and Sophia, documenting every movement and financial activity. Installing surveillance equipment in my own house felt surreal but necessary. I used my company's equipment, tiny cameras hidden in smoke detectors, audio devices sewn into Sophia's purse and placed in James's car. I placed a GPS tracker on the $25,000 diamond watch James gave Sophia. 2 weeks later, I had everything. High-definition video of James and Sophia in hotel rooms, audio recordings discussing their plans to destroy me. The most valuable intelligence came from Sophia's phone. Her password was her ex-husband's birthday. Once I accessed her device, I discovered the true scope of their financial planning. Sophia had opened 3 offshore accounts, 2 in the Cayman Islands, 1 in Switzerland. She had been systematically transferring money from the investment accounts she shared with James. Over the past 6 months, Sophia had moved $520,000 offshore. Money from our joint investments, James's business profits, and even a loan he'd taken using our house as collateral without telling me. She had also booked a one-way first-class ticket to Monaco for March 15th, exactly 2 weeks after James planned to file the divorce papers. The plan was clear. Let James destroy me in court, take half my money, and then she would vanish with the stolen nest egg, leaving James behind to face the consequences of his own treachery. This was not just betrayal. This was organized, massive-scale fraud. My investigation into the Hayes family's buried secrets took 3 weeks. The sealed 2010 court case involved Sophia's younger brother, Timothy Hayes. Timothy had killed an entire family: Maria, Carlos, Isabella, 8, and Sophia, 5, Rodriguez, while driving drunk. Sophia's father, Senator Robert Hayes, made sure his son never faced real consequences. Evidence was suppressed. Witnesses were intimidated. Senator Hayes made strategic campaign contributions totaling $200,000 to the district attorney's re-election fund, ensuring his son's freedom. I spent 3 weeks verifying every detail. I assembled ironclad proof that the Hayes family corrupted the justice system to protect a killer. Now, I had the leverage to destroy them all. First, I let James and Sophia make their move. The call came on a Tuesday morning in early March. George Drake, James's attorney, his voice oozing arrogance. He presented the demands: full custody of Lily and Austin, me allowed supervised visitation 1 weekend monthly. Our house, both SUVs, 60% of Guardian AI's assets, about $6 million. Alimony of $10,000 monthly for the next 15 years. Drake leaned back. Mrs. Morrison, James's wife, has substantial evidence of your inappropriate behavior, and Judge Cynthia Morrison, James's mother, has already reviewed preliminary evidence and indicated she would look very favorably on Mrs. Morrison's petition. I closed the folder and stared at Drake. I reached into my briefcase, pulled out a manila envelope, and placed it carefully on his desk. Give this to your client, George. Tell him to read it very carefully before deciding how aggressive he wants to be. You might want to start looking for a new client. The envelope contained everything: high-resolution photos of James and Sophia in hotel rooms, printed copies of text messages planning my destruction, bank statements proving Sophia's offshore theft, and most importantly, the complete investigative file on the Rodriguez case. The first phone call came 6 hours later. James, his voice shaking with a terrifying mix of rage and fear. Caroline, we need to talk. Right now. No, James. Everything I have to say is in that envelope. You don't understand what you're doing. My family has connections throughout this city. Your family has secrets, James. Dark, ugly secrets they've spent 12 years hiding. Now I have all of them. Ask your father-in-law, Senator Hayes, about the Rodriguez family. The line was quiet. What do you want? He whispered. Justice. You withdraw the divorce petition immediately. Sign an agreement giving me full custody of Lily and Austin. Sophia returns every stolen penny and disappears from our lives permanently. Your mother resigns from the bench before I take this to the FBI and the media. The second call was from Sophia an hour later. You sick psycho! You've been spying on us. I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of sick freak you are. Go ahead, Sophia. Make sure you tell them about the $520,000 you stole. Mention the offshore accounts and the one-way ticket to Monaco. I'm sure James will be interested in hearing about your exit strategy. The third call was the one I'd been waiting for. Senator Robert Hayes, his voice reduced to something small and brittle. What exactly do you want, Caroline? I told James what I want. Justice for the Rodriguez family. Consequences for your son. Your family out of my life permanently. I hung up without waiting for a response. What I hadn't anticipated was how desperate Sophia would become, realizing she was trapped. The next morning, James called at 6:47 a.m., sobbing uncontrollably. Carolyn, Sophia's gone. She cleaned out every shared account and disappeared. She left me with nothing. Sophia Hayes had booked an emergency flight to Paris, departing 11:30 p.m. the previous night. She had panicked and ran, leaving James holding the bag. I immediately called my FBI contact. 6 hours. Sophia's assets were frozen. 12 hours. Her name was added to Interpol's international watch list. 18 hours. She was arrested at Charles de Gaulle Airport, trying to board a connecting flight to Switzerland. 2 weeks later, the final meeting was in George Drake's office. James sat across from me, his expensive suit wrinkled, his hands shaking. He signed every document. The custody agreement gave me full parental rights, and the asset division left him with $50,000. The aftermath was swift and complete. Judge Cynthia Morrison, James's mother, announced her immediate retirement from the bench, citing personal health issues. Senator Robert Hayes announced his retirement from politics. The FBI reopened the Rodriguez case. Timothy Hayes, Sophia's brother, was arrested on vehicular manslaughter and obstruction of justice charges. Sophia Hayes was extradited and charged with embezzlement and fraud. She took a plea deal, 7 years in prison, in exchange for returning the stolen money. James Morrison lost his legal practice and now works as a paralegal, earning $40,000 yearly. And me? I got my children back. Lily and Austin live with me full-time now. Guardian AI now has 35 employees, and annual revenue is $12.5 million. I replaced late-night work sessions with bedtime stories and Saturday morning pancakes. I am present in their lives in a way I wasn't before because I understand what I almost lost. I didn't win through revenge or anger. I won through careful investigation, strategic thinking, and the understanding that truth is always more powerful than lies. The kids laugh and play in the backyard. My business protects good people from bad ones. James answers phones in a small legal firm. Sophia counts the days in a federal prison cell. Sometimes the good guys win. Sometimes patience and preparation beat arrogance and greed. Sometimes the truth really is enough. If you enjoyed this story, hit like and leave a comment. If you haven't subscribed, do it now and hit the notification bell for alerts about new stories like this. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.